If you feel like there's not enough hours in the day to get all of the things done that you want to get done and you want to become a productivity queen or king, you've come to the right episode, because I feel like I have mastered this game of getting so many things done every single day. And it's not because of talent, but actual tools that I apply and use on a day-to-day basis. And today I want to share them all with you so that you feel like you have all the time you need to get the things done that you want to get done, but not just get them done, but feel so good, happy, at peace, and fulfilled throughout. And the reason I'm making this episode is because I just completed my book proposal. If you've been listening to my podcast since the beginning of this year, in a meditation in January, got this idea that I wanted to write a book. And the idea as to what the book should be about just came to me so strongly, and I felt that I had to do it. I believe that when we get this nudge, these ideas to do something, there's typically a reason, and we are in control as to whether or not we take it on and we take action and make it happen. However, at the time, first of all, I had no clue how to write a book. I still don't have a clue how to work a book, but I'm learning little by little by taking action. But at the time, especially, I was so busy, and in my mind, I was like, there is no way that I'm going to be able to make time for any type of writing. Like, how in the world would I make up more time in my schedule when I have no more time available to me? Like, it's packed. But I made it happen. I'll share with you how I was able to structure it as we go about this episode. But I did just want to start out by saying that, because if you're someone who has a dream, a goal, something that you want to add to your schedule, whether it's more movement or meal prepping or time in nature or starting that side hustle, I just want to let you know that I believe that it is possible. And hopefully the things that I'm going to share with you today are going to be helpful in order for you to actually make this space and create this super productivity, feel good flow in your life. I have 10 tips that I want to share with you today. And the first one has to do with awareness. It has to do with auditing how you're spending your time. I did this in a couple of different ways, and I'll share with you how. But the reason why this is so important is because without awareness, we can't really make changes. If we come to find out that we're actually spending 2 hours a day scrolling on our phone, we can then change it. But if in our mind, we think that we're only scrolling for 10 to 20 minutes a day, then we can't change it because we don't actually know the reality of how we spend our time. And one incredible way to do a little time audit is for a couple of days or maybe a week, depending on how different your days are, write down every single thing that you do from when you wake up in the morning till you go to bed at night. And I know that that sounds like a lot, but I did this and it really made me aware of how I was spending my time. And another thing that it does is that because you're writing down brushing my teeth, getting ready, making my coffee, making food, working on this project, scrolling on my phone, since we're writing everything down, it pushes you to be more productive, to go through the things that don't need to take a lot of time, be quicker, and the things that you actually want to work on and be doing, spending more time on that. So if you're willing to just take a couple of days or a week to write down every single thing that you do, I'm such a big believer that this awareness, this clarity will help you be able to restructure and ask yourself, from looking at this way that you're spending your time from above, will be way more able and capable of choosing to restructure how you actually want to spend your time. And something that's important when you do this is to get clear on your goals. Like, what do you actually want for your life? And what does your day-to-day need to look like in order for you to do that? Like, if you want to get in shape, but you haven't been prioritizing working out because you prioritize watching Netflix at night, then there may be some restructuring to do. Or if you want to start that side hustle, but you keep procrastinating because you feel that resistance, which I'm also going to touch on in this episode, then you'll, again, with that newfound awareness, be able to look at that and make a conscious choice as to how you actually want to, from now on, moving forward, structure your day. And when I did this earlier this year, and I needed to figure out how to, first of all, not walk around feeling stressed all the time, because peace is something that future me has in her heart, in her soul. Like, when I visualize the future version of myself, she's in so much peace. And I wanted to create that for my life this year. I wanted to go through all the work tasks and all the exciting projects that I'm doing through peace. I wanted to live in a state of peace. And when I did this time audit earlier this year. I've done it a couple of times. I was able to see that some of the things I was doing, I was able to delegate. And now, as someone who started off her career doing everything herself and little by little being able and willing to delegate certain things, as someone who, share my work, which is so personal because it's like my life that I'm sharing online, it was and is a challenge sometimes. It's getting a lot easier for me to delegate certain things because I feel like the things I'm putting out, it's me. And so I want to make sure that it reflects me. I'm lucky enough to work with someone who's just incredible and always seeing the same vision as me. But it was challenging. And I think we all have these identities, right? We all have this idea of what we should be doing and how we want it to be done. And for me to begin delegating more, it was almost a shift of an old identity to be able to let go of the control and let go of the work tasks and my daily flow that I had previously. So when we do need to restructure our way of living and do this time audit and looking at this way that we're spending our time and make these changes that we actually want for our life, we are going to be met with resistance because to make changes, we have to do things that we haven't done before, right? So it's the same if you want to get in really great shape. You're used to allowing yourself, let the excuse get in the way when it's 9 p.m. at night and you want the cookies, or it's 6 a.m. in the morning and you have to go work out. You're used to allowing yourself sometimes to just let yourself off the hook. But if you really want to get in that badass shape that you've decided and committed to, there are parts of your identity that feels comfortable that you have to let go of. And same goes with if you are courageous enough to look at your screen time and how much you've been scrolling or just spending time doing things that maybe isn't in alignment with what you deep down want. It does require a level of needing to shift your identity from having that be your comfort zone and get outside of that comfort zone to make the things done that you want to get done. Like deep down, the things that are actually in alignment with your goals. And I will be speaking on this topic of flow versus force when it comes to wanting to move towards a certain goal and you don't feel that flow initially. I'll be speaking about that. But first, I want to move on to habit number 2, which is not new to anyone who's been listening to my podcast, but it's essential. It's important. It's the reason why I am able to be as productive and get as much done in my day as I would like to. And it has to do with my morning routine of journaling. But more specifically, the question of what would be the best use of my time today. Something that I've had to really work on over the past couple of months is this: what is urgent and what is important? Writing a book is not urgent, but it is important because in my vision of my future, my highest self, she has written this book. And in my mind, I can see how much it can really lead to my career going to that next level. It can really help me take my career to that next level in such deep alignment with what I feel so passionate about in my life. So writing this book for me is very important. It's correct that it's not urgent because it may not be published for another 4 years, who knows, but it is important. What is urgent often in my mind is that I get a reel out that day, a short out that day, a TikTok out that day, that I hit my 2 podcast episodes, that I make sure to be engaged with my community that I have, which by the way, if you want to join, I have my transformational community. And in May, we're doing something new. We're restructuring my entire transformation challenge because in May, it's going to be a Lean and Strong Summer May Challenge. And there's going to be meal plans included now, different depending on what you need your macros to be in order for you to reach your goals. And if you're new to my podcast and my channels, then just to give you a little idea of what we do inside of there. Well, we have weekly calls and coaching sessions, which we dive deep on all topics from binge eating to a topic like today, time management, to how to get in the best shape of your life, how to get abs, how to deal with people who aren't supporting you on your journey. Like whatever someone is dealing with, we dive deep into it. And it's so exciting. And we also do that inside of our community where we message each other every day, encourage each other, hype each other up for staying accountable and consistent with this goal that we've set to ourselves. We have this like commitment document. So everyone has written in their goals and then the commitments that they have for that week so that we can help each other stay accountable. They do my workouts, which there are 4 different workout routines, journaling, which I have so many different journals in there that are, oh my gosh, life transformational. Honestly, the people who do them, they shift their identity in ways that is just so incredibly beautiful. And then obviously you get all of my recipes. So yeah, it's a beautiful community to be a part of, and I'll link below if that's something that you want to do. But back to this idea of morning journaling, of what would be the best use of my time today. It's something that I ask myself every morning, and there's different ways to ask myself. Sometimes it's about getting outside of my comfort zone and doing the thing that I've been wanting to procrastinate. Sometimes it's about just grinding out some pages for my book. And what I also do in my journaling when it comes to like, how would today be the best? How can I use my day today to make the absolute most progress in moving the needle towards these long-term goals that I have, is also asking myself, how can I make sure that I feel good throughout today as I go about this? And sometimes for me, it's just connecting with this higher version of myself who I visualize every single day. I connect with her every single day. I do have some meditations inside of my community as well. I've uploaded one on this podcast as well previously. Sometimes it's an affirmation that I'll say throughout the day, like, I'm so lucky that I get to live this life. Or how come I'm always so lucky? How come things always come to me easily? How come love is all around me? Like, I'll come up with some sentence that I'll repeat to myself throughout the day. And as I'm going throughout the tasks, I'll ask myself like, oh, how could I make this next 30 minutes where I have to complete, let's say, responding to these emails as enjoyable as possible? Oh, that would be making a cup of coffee and putting up my feet and enjoying this little time where I get that done. So I journal on what would be the best way to spend my day today, and how can I make sure that I feel incredible throughout. If something feels hard, I'll ask myself, what would this look like if it were easy? Which I think is Seth Godin's quote, or Tim Ferriss, one of the two. And it just helps me come up with ways of it being easy. Like something I shared with my community on Sunday during our coaching call was how that morning I'd said to myself, my real idea is just going to come to me with so much ease today. And I repeated that throughout the morning as I was doing other tasks. And when I had 1 hour to get that thing done before I had to jump on the call with my community, it literally just came to me, an incredible good idea that seemed to resonate with my audience really well. And it took me 30 minutes to put together, which a reel can take a lot longer for me to put together when I am not in that creative flow. But I do believe that when I say to myself, it's just going to come to me easy, I would say majority of the time it does. Of course, there's days where it doesn't, but it really works for me. And I believe that when we believe that it works, then it's more likely for it to actually work. The third thing that I wanted to share with you today is also not new to anyone who's been listening to my podcast for a while, because it's that I make a to-do list. So after my journaling, where I've gotten clear on my day, I write down a to-do list and I write it in the order that I want it to be done, so that I can literally just check it off. Every time I've done something, I just check it off and I move on to the next. Like, if you don't make a to-do list and you feel overwhelmed, the to-do list is going to take away the overwhelmment, at least a lot more, because when it's all rumbling around in our mind, oh my gosh, it can feel like a massive overwhelmment. But if you write it down, I promise you some of that overwhelmingness will go away. It's the same as when we have a goal. If we write down the different milestones we have to hit, what we're going to need to do on a weekly basis, monthly basis, on a daily basis, it's suddenly, because it's broken down into such small action step basis, it takes away the overwhelmment. It's the same if you're stressed about something that happened with another human. If you just write out what actually happened and what potentially could be a solution, or just write it out really and then see it from above, then the overwhelmment and the anxiety of whatever had happened will feel a lot less challenging to overcome. There's such power in putting down our thoughts onto paper and seeing it from above. So highly recommend the to-do list. Like, if you take nothing else from this podcast, please just make a to-do list. And that could potentially 2x your productivity just with that. Also, because what that does for me, which is another point that I wanted to share with you today, is that I don't scroll. If I have my to-do list in front of me, it's like I just move from one thing to the next. And yes, that requires discipline, but you can choose to be disciplined. If you catch yourself scrolling, put the phone away, maybe put it in a different room, something where it's not going to distract you. Discipline requires discipline, right? But it's just about, in that moment, speaking to ourselves like we would our best friend, if we were our own best coach, like, just get the thing done that you want to get done, because oh my goodness, does it feel fulfilling. From this book proposal that I just wrote, it had felt so overwhelming until I wrote down this like milestone, clear step by step, like I mentioned. And I was like, I want to get it done in April. And then Thursday, I was like, wow, I would feel so proud of myself if I got it done this weekend. And I wrote down what would need to happen if my microphone just fell. What would I need to do to make that happen, like get it done in this weekend? And I wrote down a plan and I was like, I think I can do this. And I still had to do other things, shoot other things, edit other things, podcast episodes, like different things. But I did just cut out my social life for the weekend because I knew that if I were to complete this, then for the rest of April, I wouldn't have to continuously think about it. And I felt so proud of myself. Then Sunday night, I hung out with one of my girlfriends, and hanging out with her that night felt so much better because I had completed the project. And then the following day, I also hung out with another girlfriend. There is just something about setting a goal and pushing through and making the thing happen that you deep down want to, because there's just no better feeling than acting in alignment with what we deep down want. And especially if it's something that feels challenging, because resistance is going to occur. And that leads me to the next point that I wanted to chat with you about in this episode, because we can't wait for motivation to kick in for us to do it. Certain instances maybe, but for instance, this morning, I did not want to do the thing that I did, which was I, for a long time, have thought like, okay, when I get a good day where it's sunny outside in the morning, I should go around Santa Monica Pier, which I just moved to Santa Monica. So Santa Monica Pier is like very close to where I live. And I should bring like big bags of clothes so that I can make these her versus her reels, which if you follow me on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok, then you would have seen me standing next to each other. And those videos can be challenging to record outside because I constantly have to change. I'm not wearing the same outfits and I can't move the camera while changing. So to me, the task of doing that just felt daunting and something I didn't want to do really. For maybe like 4 days, which was also while I was writing the book proposal, I was thinking about like, I really need to do that. Today was the first day where I actually had the time to do that in the morning. It wasn't sunny outside, which makes the videos typically not as good. And I very easily could have made it that the excuse as to why I didn't need to do it. But I knew that if I just went out and got it done, I would feel so good afterwards. And so I packed my bags, I got to Santa Monica, and I was like, okay, I'll just do it for 1 hour. But then once I got going, I got these other ideas as to things I wanted to shoot, and I ended up going for 2.5 hours. And afterwards, I felt so incredible. So good. And oftentimes when I have to make shoots like that happen, I don't actually feel like doing it beforehand, but afterwards I feel really amazing. And it's the same when it comes to working out or, sticking to our meal plan the day before. Like the next day we feel so good because we stuck to it. Typically the things that are good for us, we don't always feel like doing in that moment. And same came with my book. When I started getting this idea that I wanted to write this book, all of the resistance came in. I'm not good enough for that. I don't know where to start, who would want to read it, all the little fiery thoughts, and just me knowing how to go about doing it. So much resistance came in. But I really believe that we learn the absolute most when we just get started, when we just do the thing, when we just get outside of whatever it is that we're freaking out about and just getting started. With my writing my book, something that I decided to do when I got the idea, because I didn't have time, I thought, to write it was, I haven't written the whole book yet. I've only written the book proposal, but that did require some chapters and a lot of writing. Was that, okay, what I'm going to do is just spend 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week. Because 5 minutes, we all have 5 minutes. And so it was something, honestly, every single day, it looked like me having worked my entire day, got home from the gym, made dinner, and then, was ready to like chill and maybe do some final work, but like definitely ready to basically go to bed. I would remind myself, I haven't written on the book yet today. So I would just start and write a couple of sentences. And sometimes it was just a couple of sentences, like for the 5 minutes, but other times that ended up being like good amount of a chapter, like a really good something that had happened throughout the day that really worked in that I could use for some part of my book. So the rule of me just having to write for 5 minutes a day really helped me, now have what looks like a complete chapter outline, a bunch of chapters done, and like a complete structure as to what I just need to do to complete the book. And I'm sharing this with you because if you have a project that you've been wanting to do, let's say you want to start a YouTube channel and you haven't yet gotten started because you're waiting to get the perfect camera or have the perfect script or whatever it is, just get it done. Just start, just try. And even if it doesn't end up being something you want to post, I'm absolute certain that you learned something from just getting started, or you've been procrastinating a project that you know is going to take whatever something you're doing to the next level. Just get it done. Find 4 hours, find a week, find whatever much time you need and get it done, because you're going to feel so good and you're going to grow from it, regardless of what comes from it. Or if you're looking to work on like a bigger side hustle project, like I want to write a book, maybe that looks like for you as well, doing 5 days a week, 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, or, come up with the thing that feels right to you, but don't wait to feel ready. Just plan it out and get to action. Some would maybe disagree, perfectionists who want to make it perfect, but I think me not being a perfectionist has benefited me a lot in my life. And yes, I've made a lot of mistakes, but man, do I take action when I know I've been procrastinating for too long or when I feel that resistance. And that leads us to the fifth habit or thought that I want to share with you today, which is that I remind myself again and again and again that for me to grow, it often means discomfort. It often means feeling not worthy and capable of writing a book, but fighting my way through it, or let's just say working my way through it and trying to make it as enjoyable as possible to make it happen. It means me, when I wanted to start my social media platforms, knowing that, damn, I'm going to be judged. Putting myself out there, I'm going to be judged. But I got to a point where it was like, am I more willing to live my life in my comfort zone and never embark on this dream, this goal that I want to share my journey online so that I don't get judged? Or am I willing to get judged, but potentially help people's lives by actually putting myself out there? Like, who am I going to focus on? My insecurities and the judgment I'm going to receive, or the other person who I potentially could actually help from putting myself out there? And I have many times throughout my journey creating content felt like I'm forcing things rather than it feeling like I'm in flow. And every time I'm in flow, I do tend to make a lot more progress towards my goals. Now, I do believe that my seasons of force potentially have had to happen so that I could learn the difference and know what to pay attention to. I had a chat with one of my girlfriends last night, about her realizing that every time something gets hard, when she feels like she needs to force something, she gives up. She's so wildly intelligent and has so much potential, but certain things she's gone after a while, if it doesn't just come to her, she stops, because in her mind, which is also accurate, she's like, but it shouldn't be hard. Like, it should just flow. So this must not be meant for me. Here's what I think I have learned, because I've definitely been in force and I've also definitely been in flow. When I've been in force, it's a beautiful time to take a step back and ask myself, what about what I'm doing is not working right now? This thing that I want to make happen and I'm trying to force, what's the reason it's not working? Sometimes maybe for me, I'm more focusing on making sure that what I put out is something that other people are going to like me for, over I'm just trying to benefit whoever's watching, and whoever doesn't find use in it, whatever. Like, if I focus on wanting to make sure I'm being liked, the reason I'm mentioning that is because my content 2 years ago, I was dealing with certain insecurities due to some personal things that were going on. And that made me create content that I wanted to make sure that I was liked by everyone. Where today, my content is very much like, I just want to add value. And it was back then as well. Like, I've always just wanted to add value, but I was more insecure, let's say. And I think people feel energies, right? And recently, I've had a lot of flow with my work, and it's also outwardly shown up to really grow my channels in incredible ways. And looking back now, if I had the knowledge I have now, when I was in the midst of that forcing growth on my channels and everything I was working towards, if I'd just taken a step back and chosen to breathe and ask myself, what's not working? What are some things that other people are doing that maybe you aren't doing, that if you started applying, it could benefit you and it could benefit the people who are watching your things? For instance, the way I'm creating my content right now, I mentioned this thing that I'm in such peace when I'm filming. At the moment, like, I don't feel the rush of it all, and I used to rush it to get as much done as possible. And now I get more done, but feeling at peace throughout, which is just incredible. Like I, will shoot, let's say 10 reels in a day. I'll just have a good time doing it rather than it being like, let's get through this as quickly as possible. And that for me feels like, oh my gosh, so much better, obviously. And it feels like I get in flow. And I wasn't able to see that before because I'd never experienced creating content in that way. I guess I had, but you learn as you go. But if you're feeling like you're forcing something, maybe ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing that isn't working? If everything were perfectly aligned, what would be happening differently? Really just ask yourself questions on questions on questions. And I think some new awarenesses are going to come to you. Maybe, you need to look at the thing from a different perspective, or you need to speak with mentors who can challenge you. I've gotten a life coach, as I've mentioned before, and it's been so valuable to help me see my blind spots. We all have blind spots, right? So maybe a conversation with someone about it could be really useful, because I think there is always a way to switch the force into flow. And sometimes it's really because what you're doing isn't what you're supposed to be doing. Maybe you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Maybe you're meant to do something else. Like rejection is a redirection for you to move into the right thing that you're supposed to be doing. So pay attention to whatever comes up. I would often go on an hour or an hour and a half hike when I would feel that force that come up, and just being in nature and moving helped me get answers, which felt incredible. The seventh thing I wanted to share, I've already touched upon, which is how can I make this feel good? I've mentioned a time before where the last time I feel like I was like stressed was at the gym, and I was stressing about these different things I had to get done. And oh my gosh, this is a long time ago. That just shows that it's really possible to get a lot of stuff done without feeling stressed. It's like a state of mind. If you're more at peace, you can get so much more done. Like when you take ownership of your time, starting with the time audit and using these other tools, like you can get so much more done and feel at so much more peace while doing it. So I hope something I'm saying resonates with you, because if you apply it, it really could be life-changing without trying to be too dramatic with my wording. But going back to the thing at the gym, when I was feeling super, super stressed, I became aware that, oh my gosh, I'm stressing over all these things I have to do. And then from that awareness, being aware that I'm stressing right now, I could then choose to step into that future higher version of myself who's literally just at peace, the version of me who I connect to every single morning in meditation. Because I've done that so much, I could snap into her, and I couldn't do anything about it anyway. Like, did I want to spend my workout stressing, or did I want to enjoy my workout and then, get the things crossed off my to-do list so that I could, have it completed, all the things that I needed to get done. I really can't believe, but also it's freaking incredible that for the past, I don't know how many years since I embarked on this journey, I felt joy. Oh my gosh, incredible amounts of joy every day. But there has been this lingering stress inside of me, subconscious, I would say. But now that I feel like I've let it go, I'm sure that 2 years from now, I'm going to see things that I don't currently see that I have got going on in my inner system that I'll only be able to see from that higher place. But right now, looking back to how I used to live my life to where I am right now, I really have let go of so much stress, and it feels incredible. And we're all capable of doing that. Like, I hope that every day you do a little meditation where you step into that future version of yourself and ask yourself, how do I feel as this future highest version of myself? And then every day, let's say it's peace, that this version of you feels peace. Every day when you catch yourself not feeling at peace, just taking a couple of deep breaths and stepping into feeling that peace. It's so life-changing, for real. It's beautiful. Number 8 is that I take breaks throughout the day. I have many different things I need to do in a day. Like, it's not all the same thing, but even if it is all the same thing, like if you only have to write pages on pages on pages every single day, taking little breaks can be so energizing. Whether it's sitting with yourself and taking 10 deep breaths, whether it's going outside for a 5-minute walk for just a tiny little break, coming back and feeling so refreshed. Maybe it's getting up and drinking a large glass of water. Maybe it is going to the gym. If you have a lunch break, maybe, you ask your boss, hey, can I from today on take a 1.5 hour lunch break so that I can go to the gym and come back re-energized? I do that. Like, my gym session is usually like a midday break for me. and something that I've been doing every single day for I don't know how many weeks now, probably since I came back from Florida, is jump in the ocean. Every day I jump in the ocean, and it's like I'm one person before I jump in, and then I'm a different person when I get out. And every time when I get out, every single day I start singing. I just start singing, which for me is such a like representation of just pure joy. You know, when you're singing, it's like you're just free and it feels amazing. But whatever you feel that you need to do to just take a couple of more breaks throughout the day, I really think it'll re-energize you and be able to get back to feeling more in flow again. And don't be on your phone during your break. It's not going to benefit you. Like if you're like, oh, I need a break, and then you go scrolling, that's not the kind of break I'm talking about. Nope. It's like reconnecting with yourself kind of break. Sometimes for me, it's also an eating break. That feels so nice, like really sitting and enjoying my food. Love it. Okay. And the next one I want to share is a little controversial because I know that a clean home will make you be able to be more productive. But going back to the urgent and the important, it's just about sitting down and getting it done. Like if I have a messy kitchen, sometimes I'm just like, whatever, I'm just going to get this done. The reason I'm sharing this is because I know a lot of my challengers have mentioned that like they will need to do certain things, but then they end up cleaning as I guess not having to do the thing that is important. And obviously, it makes sense that you would need a clean space before you do things. But I just wanted to be honest with you and say that one of the reasons I do get so much done is because I don't let things like that get in the way of me getting the things done that I actually want to really get done. Then I can clean after. So I know controversial. I mean, very controversial, because I also know that it would be so good for me to always work in a clean space. But it's my priorities is getting the things done that I know I need to get done. And sometimes that means a messy kitchen is going to have to wait. 2 final tips, which means we're going to end off with 11, but I do think the 11th I've kind of mentioned, but it's really important. But first, number 10 is I celebrate myself afterwards. I don't mean celebrating like I go out and do this massive celebration. No, a celebration for me could literally be me sitting for 5 minutes and just appreciating what I've done. I think if you think back to your teenage self, her or him seeing the things you're doing in your life today, she or he would feel so proud. Right? And I think it's so important that when we do something that was potentially challenging or hard, or we were met with a lot of resistance towards and we did it anyway, I think it's so important to acknowledge yourself for it and celebrate it. Even if it's just a couple of breaths of acknowledging what we just did, even if it's just a workout, even if it's just a healthy nutritional choice, which we were about to do something that we wouldn't have felt proud of, or that wasn't in alignment with what we deep down wanted. It also helps release dopamine. So we're going to continue wanting to show up and do these hard things for ourselves. If we criticize ourselves because we didn't do it good enough, then our brain, our body is going to not want to show up again because it's going to remember it as being something negative because you were speaking so negatively to yourself. So kindness, celebration, for me, often it's making a really nice dinner. And I'm not saying like, oh, I'm going to order pizza because I deserved it. It's more so something that I love, that tastes good, but also is nutritious and in alignment with my goals. But just maybe something that is more expensive that normally I wouldn't have let myself buy or whatever in terms of food. I mean, I buy equipment for my videos and I buy food and anything that can help me grow. But I'm not like a let's go out and spend a ton of money shopping kind of girl, which I probably should do a little bit more of. But I have my Gymshark clothes, so I'm happy with that. Which, by the way, if you ever want to, oh my gosh, actually, I did not plan to say this, but if you just happen to listen to this episode as it's coming out, Gymshark has 50% off on all their bestsellers. And if you use my code Pernilla, you do get 10 extra % off. So if you have been wanting some new gym clothes, there may be a reason why I just remembered, because I'm looking at my computer right now. It's the 16th and on the 17th is when the mid-year sale begins. I believe it's there for maybe a day or two. So yeah, go check it out and use my code Pernilla if you feel like it. But the last and final thing is that when I need to get things done and I'm like resisting it, I visualize how I want to feel at the end of the day or at the end of the project. Like today, I didn't want to go to Santa Monica and do all those things. But then I visualized how good I was going to feel once it was complete. And let me tell you something. I felt even better than what I had visualized. But also what I did was I went into the store. I had parked by a Target and I'd gone into the store and just got a couple of things so that I could go home and make myself the most delicious breakfast afterwards. So that, I guess, is a mix of celebration and visualizing what I want to feel like when I'm done, just like how you should visualize and what you want to feel like when you're done, and celebrate yourself when you do those things that you're going to feel proud of having done. And don't limit yourself. We all have these beliefs as to what we're capable of and not capable of, but really we're the people who are in full control of what that actually is. And we just have to get outside of our limited mindset as to what that looks like. Because I know you can do this. I know that if you have a lot on your plate with that time audit and these other little strategies, tools that I shared with you in today's episode, you really can take complete ownership and control of your life. And we're in the middle of April right now, or whenever you're listening to this, but you can make so much progress by the end of this year if you actually take control of your time in this way and actually spend it doing the things that are aligned with those big, enormous goals that you have for your life. And I want that for you, because I just right now I'm experiencing just how good it feels to do things that are scary, that you feel are hard, challenging, but doing it anyway, maybe doing it imperfectly, but showing up and feeling so freaking proud of yourself for doing that. It's the way to build confidence. It's the way to feel energized. Like after I'd gone and done that shoot today, after I finished the book proposal, every time I finish a bigger project, it energizes me like crazy. You feel so good and ready to take on the world. And you deserve to feel that way. So I hope you go take action and you find this structure, this way of getting things done. If you want to join my community or my Lean and Strong Summer May Challenge, you can check it out in the description below. And if you found this useful, it would mean the world to me if you would share it with a friend and hit that subscribe button, and have a beautiful day. And remember, as always, in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.